Welcome back to another episode of Technology for Independence. Today, Christopher is going to be talking with Mara Waldriff about her program that provides corporate training, workshops, consulting, and content creation, helping various different organizations, and especially those who have some kind of disability. So stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Technology for Independence with Christopher Cooley. Today, Christopher is going to be talking with Mara Waldriff, who owns her own specific business in which she provides a variety of different programs, training, and workshops, as well as consulting and content creation for individuals, organizations, and those that have some kind of disability. Chris, always a pleasure talking with you.
Always a pleasure to be here, Patrick. We're talking about internet access and accessibility today. You hear a lot of individuals saying, how do you use a computer if you're blind? How do you use a computer if you're deaf? How does all that work? I sit and I watch a lot of TikTokers, that have developmental disabilities. And those are questions that's always been asked. How do you do it if you're blind? How can you read the screen? Those are important questions. So I thought bring Meredith up and let her talk a little bit about the ways and different programs that she's been doing about how individuals use their computers to be more accessible. If they want to Google on Amazon or maybe go to an agency page and be able to be more accessible. So Meredith, tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do?
Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for having me. I am really excited to talk to you about all things digital accessibility today. Just a little bit about me. I have 15 years of experience in media and communications. And just in the last, I would say 4 years or so, I've started to understand a lot more about how people with disabilities access digital content. And spoiler alert, a lot of times it's very difficult because frequently this hasn't been something that a lot of organizations have kept in mind as they're building out their websites, as they're posting their social media, as they're developing their onboarding and communications materials. A lot of entities have had difficulty with including a population that maybe, like you said, maybe they are blind or low vision, maybe they are deaf or hard of hearing. Even intellectual and developmental disabilities can be something that are influence how someone interacts with digital content. So there are a lot of areas to consider when we're thinking about how people with disabilities access the digital world. And so that's something that I've really delved into over the last several years and taken it into what I do with my business, which is to provide trainings as well as consulting and storytelling content creation that is accessible to people with all kinds of disabilities.
I know that you brought a video. Would you like to share that?
Sure, happy to share that.
At Embrace Access, we create inclusive digital content to help grow your customer base. Because everyone deserves access to your great products and services. So we offer video editing and graphic design, web development, social media and marketing campaigns, writing services for things like blog posts, newsletters, and magazine articles. And we can even create a strategic marketing plan for your business based on thorough research, innate creativity, and of course, accessibility. We also provide education opportunities through hands-on workshops to teach you or your team best practices in digital accessibility. Did you know that in the US, up to 1 in 4 people has a disability? And many of those people use assistive technologies to help them navigate both the physical and digital world. The work goes beyond just putting an accessibility filter on your website and calling it accessible. There's a lot more to it than that. As a marketing, education, and advocacy agency, Embrace Access was founded in order to create a more inclusive digital world, while also educating others to build a deeper understanding of why this topic is so important, both ethically and economically. So whatever your marketing or education needs are, we are here to help. So go ahead and sign up on our website to get updates, resources, and information around not just what we're doing, but what's happening in advocacy and accessibility spaces around the country. Together, we can ensure that everyone has equal access to the things that make this world great, like you and your business.
Technology has came a long way. Even AI has came a long way. And so many apps out there, so many things that are out there for individuals. So tell us a little bit about how individuals with developmental disabilities and others that have other disabilities to be able to use their computers and use TikTok, use Facebook, and things like that.
That's a great question. And AI is changing everything, right? It's incredible how much influence and how much support AI can provide, whether you're a business owner like I am, whether you're someone with a disability that needs something summarized. You know, the opportunities are endless with AI, but I do understand that it can be very scary. And in fact, there are some areas where AI claims to provide support when in fact it doesn't. So you may have seen, and a lot of websites, there is a round circle, a circle that has a person, and they're raising their arms, and they kind of have their legs spread wide. And if you click on it, it provides a whole bunch of different options to customize your interface, is what it claims. Frequently, these actually provide more barriers to people with disabilities than helping people with disabilities. So these widgets claim to use AI to adjust interfaces. So if somebody is colorblind, if somebody is low vision or hard of hearing, but the fact is that people with disabilities frequently already have the assistive technologies to help them navigate websites and social media and things like this. So if they these can frequently actually get in the way, and there's been many lawsuits. So it's important for any organization that is interested in accessibility and really incorporating it into their culture, into their daily practices, that they're doing it from ground zero, because there's never an easy fix. But I will say that the technology for people with disabilities is incredible. I mean, when we think about eyesight technology, someone who maybe is nonverbal can actually use their eyes to navigate a screen so that they're having a conversation and providing information on what their wants and needs are. There's assistive technology, like something like a screen reader, that allows for someone who's blind or low vision to go through, again, websites or social media, things like that. But if those things aren't designed to connect and work with those assistive technologies, it's going to be difficult, if not impossible, for that person with a disability to engage and interact and purchase your products or services.
What kind of things do you offer in your business?
I do all kinds of things. My disability, my lived experience is with ADHD. And so this has given me a particular lens that I look at things, and I have an eye for design. And if something is overwhelming, if it's too overstimulating, that design I know needs to be adjusted. So I help with design services, making sure that I will help content creation, whether it's logo design, making sure it's accessible to people who are colorblind, who are low vision, making sure that people incorporate things like alternative text. So again, someone who might be blind or low vision can understand what's going on in an image. So I deliver a lot of different things, including corporate trainings and workshops. So for example, I've helped the Colorado Community College system recently to incorporate digital accessibility, not only the foundations, but how to incorporate it into their workflows. And Chris, you may already know this, but in April of 2026, the Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act goes into place. And this is a section of the ADA that specifies that all technology related to the government, so it may be organizations that are funded by the government, as well as government organizations themselves, have to have digital accessibility incorporated into their practices, incorporated into their culture. So this will mean that there is a possibility for folks who are not being digitally accessible, for them to be open to lawsuits for folks with disabilities, which is kind of empowering, right? Like if a constituent can't engage with their politicians, with their healthcare services, this is an area of discrimination, right? So that's a big thing that's happening in the world right now, or in our country right now. So ADA Title II is coming.
As an individual like myself has a developmental disability, legally blind, legally deaf, I have reached out to a law firm that is named DARR, DARR Law, here in Ohio, and got some information, some tips on how to reach out to some companies and say, hey, we need your website to be more accessible so I can come on to your website and be able to get what I need off of it. He is a great guy that really got great knowledge of everything about the ADA law. And so I go to him with a lot of my concerns and for advice. So what is your blog about?
My blog is something I'm developing. I have 2 entries so far, and it's talking about the power of accessibility and what organizations can do right now in this moment to become more accessible. And there's a lot of different steps, but there are a few that someone can take immediately to incorporate into their practices. One is to ensure correct color contrast. So there is digital accessibility right now is measured against a concept, a set of rules called the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. That acronym is frequently pronounced WCAG. WCAG is supporting people with all kinds of disabilities, and it is taking a set of rules that was created by folks with disabilities and those who use assistive technologies, and to measure different kinds of media against that. So for example, a video, if someone is watching a video and there is text on the video, but there's no transcript and there's no description of what the text is, then that's going to be impossible for someone who's blind or low vision to be able to know the full scope of what's happening in that video. So to be more inclusive in that media and communication world is really important from not only a marketing standpoint and a business standpoint, but of course from a inclusivity standpoint and supporting folks with disabilities.
I know you said you work with the Ohio DD Council. What do you do there?
Yeah, I love my role with the DD Council. So one of my many roles is I do content creation, and I help support an organization called 23 East Group, and they do and the Ohio DD Council is the Ohio Developmental Disabilities Council. And they support their work in their media and communication. So they do some things with social media, and also their newsletter. And I help support their podcast called Ohio DD Talks with Sherry Cooper. Shout out to Sherry. And Sherry's amazing. I produce the show. So I come up with the questions. I correspond with the folks that we're going to interview, and we do it together. I do the editing, put the story together in the end. Sherry is, you may know Chris. I know you know Sherry. She's got a fire in her, so I try to make sure that the music reflects who she is, and that the story is informative for everybody who listens.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Great work. And thank you for helping out with that, because, a lot of times we need just that little bit of help, and, getting it out there and getting the world to see our ability to be able to know these guys are out here, working and doing their best to live independent in their own home, in their community. So if an individual wants to get a hold of you, agency group want to get a hold of you, how would they be able to get a hold of you?
Yeah, certainly on my website is a good place to start. I do have a contact form there. It's under the contact section when you go to my website at embraceaccess.com. And, or you can just shoot me an email directly at mara@embraceaccess.com. I'm also active on LinkedIn, and that's a place where I like to provide lots of tips and tricks for organizations to start incorporating, and so those are the best places to reach me right now.
How has your services helped individuals, without naming any names?
I have a friend who works at the University of Denver, and this is an example of inaccessibility. He works actually in the learning support services department, and he is blind, and he has a really difficult time navigating a lot of the portals or software programs that are used in the university. And because of this, it has prevented him from applying for promotions. It's prevented him from really fully participating in things that other staff are able to participate in easily. And this has been a really big barrier for him, and a really challenging thing to overcome, because the organization just isn't taking his needs seriously. And that is the kind of story that I want to help overcome, and help anyone with a disability, whether it's in higher education, whether it's just in their daily life, whether it's accessing medical care, that anyone can have autonomy, have independence in accessing that content. That's a big element, because without independence, you have to have someone helping you. And that's what we're trying to get away from in the disability world, right? Like, we want this self-determination direction. We want everyone to be able to make their own decisions, to act upon the things that they want and need. And if things aren't accessible, that is not an option. So actually Colorado, I've worked a lot in Colorado, and we have there's a specific state law, HB 211110. So I have worked with organizations who have to abide by this law. and the hope is, like when I work with the community college system, that they'll be able to recruit more students that have disabilities. So a more educated workforce that can go into areas of employment that they want, that's going to be good for them, that maybe it's a specific training that they want to access. Maybe it's a goal, a specific job. There's just so many opportunities that are lost when people don't incorporate digital accessibility and inclusion.
So where do you see your business, your work in 5 years? How would you describe it?
Oh, in 5 years, I hope to have some influence, and I really enjoy the training aspect of what I'm doing. And my goal is to spread digital accessibility as much as I possibly can. So if we can incorporate as many people into these trainings, into this level of understanding and acceptance, that inclusion is important. I want to make sure that everyone that I come across understands the need for this. It's not just, I like to call digital accessibility both an art and a science, because there are a lot of rules you have to follow. But there's also a lot of just thinking and incorporating this philosophy of what would this look like to someone with a disability, and then running through the list of disability categories in your head, just putting yourself, like, looking through things within a lens, within a disability lens that allows folks to see the world a little bit differently. So I hope to have influence in that area and to support as many organizations as possible in incorporating that.
So tell me a little bit about some successful things that you have accomplished now and hope to have in the future.
Yeah, so one interesting perspective that I want to touch on with this question is not only having your outward facing materials to be accessible to people with disabilities, but also to have your internal processes and internal materials accessible to people with disabilities. So if somebody is working alongside you, that is your coworker, that you can have a PowerPoint that maybe you're doing onboarding, maybe you're doing a particular training, maybe you are supporting each other with marketing and document creation or content creation. If we can not only provide digital accessibility services in our websites, in our social media, again, these things that our customers or clients want to engage with, but also to recognize that people with disabilities have hopes and dreams and want to be a part of so many different areas, just like every single other person that has various interests and wants to be included in employment. A thing we talk about in the disability world a lot is one of the first things people ask you is, what do you do? What do you do for work? And if those processes internally aren't going to be accessible to people with disabilities, that leaves, again, that's an option that is not available to people, even though it might be beneficial.
If individuals want to use you as a service, how much would it cost, or is there a fee for your service?
Yeah, so I do all kinds of different things, and this is I have so many different interests. So I work with really big organizations like the community college systems. I also work with individuals who maybe they're an entrepreneur, maybe they are a parent advocate that can't be at their that their school materials aren't accessible. There are, so really I don't have a number that I can provide because everything I do is so different. I also do a lot of storytelling still in media and content creation. So I do video, I do podcasting, but again, making sure those services are accessible. So if anybody is interested, I would love to have a conversation and talk through what your needs are, and that's how we would, come to talk about pricing and all that stuff.
That's awesome. Do you have any successful stories that you would like to tell?
One thing that I am proud of and this is kind of going away from the training part of what I do into the content creation and putting those outward facing materials into the world, is creating videos for advocacy. So I have worked with an organization called Meet the Need NC, and they currently have 19,000 people on the innovations waiver waiting list. And that is a huge number. So I am very proud that I got to go to their legislative listening session this past year and record some of the testimonies from people with lived experience, whether that was people with disabilities, developmental disabilities, or their caregivers, and all of the stories that come along with those experiences. So I do have some of those that they're not on my website. They are on my LinkedIn, but those have had a lot of really profound reach and some really great impact, I think. So I'm very proud of that.
Words of wisdom?
Oh, words of wisdom. Put yourself in environments with all kinds of people. And that includes people with all kinds of disabilities. Put yourself in a position to understand what those experiences are like. Because once you start doing that, that's when you start to understand how to make your content accessible, because it changes the way that you look at the world.
Hey, we're talking with Chris Cooley and Mara Waldriff. Mara Waldriff has her own company, Embrace Access. Chris, Mara, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.